Hi, everybody. Welcome to Coffee Time with Dana and Wendy. You got the solo show today. I'm Wendy, and I am half of the great team, the powerful team, the nutritionistas of Sudbury. And we're going live just the same. Just because we're only half a team doesn't mean that we're not a team. And, that's what teamwork is all about. So I apologize. Look at this. I've got crazy, crazy hair in a bun kind of day. That's what it is. It's raining out. It's springtime, and I don't really care. I'm sorry. Perhaps I should take better care of my looks, but you're not here for my looks, and that's okay. You're here to hear all about probiotics. We are talking all week about probiotics, and we've talked about why probiotics are needed, what kind of probiotics are the best for you. When we look towards food products, what we're looking at with probiotics, the foods that are probiotic plentiful. And we also looked at prebiotics yesterday. Today I am going to talk about the microbiome. So this is kind of a new term that's been brought up over the last, I don't know, 10, 15 years. Not so much maybe a new term, but it's a term that's been coming out into more of the mainstream. So people hear it all the time. I know probably a lot of you know what the microbiome is, and I just thought I would expound upon it a little bit. And then I wanted to talk to you about psychobiotics, which is a new term in the last maybe 10 years. Maybe I'm kind of making that up. I don't know, but it's a newer term anyways. And I wanted to just touch on that a little bit. But essentially the microbiome is the bacteria and the viruses and the fungi and other microscopic living things are referred to all the microorganisms and the microbes that are within us. So in our gut, actually, in our intestines, when I say gut, I'm talking intestines, there's actually a pocket in the large intestine. So you got to think a little bit about the physiology of our digestive system. Basically, what it is that we have our mouth, and then we have a tube that goes to our stomach, and then from our stomach we have the beginning of the beginning of the small intestine, and then we have, quite a long, process of the small intestine there, and then we get to the large intestine. So there's a pocket actually in the large intestine, and the large intestine is not as long as the short intestine, and it actually just runs up one side of you, across, and then down, and then out to the rectum. So there's a pocket in an area of our gut, our large intestine, that's called the cecum. And this is actually referred to as the gut microbiome. And in this gut microbiome is where we house all of these living bacterial entities that are within ourselves. And then they go out from there and they go into the rest of the body from there. I mean, we have bacteria on our skin. We have bacteria everywhere. It's part of the symbiosis or the symbiotic relationship that we have with bacteria. As a natural being, this is part of who we are. This is why sometimes when we sanitize so much with antibacterial things, that it's not always a good thing, because we are potentially getting rid of the good bacteria as well too. Back in the day, kids were going outside and playing in puddles and playing in the dirt and eating dirt and messing around and everything else outside, getting dirty, and this was a good thing. Vaginal births, this is a good thing, because we get that microbiome started up right away because of the passage of the child through the vaginal canal. Allows for bacteria to get to the child. And people that have cesarean sections by choice, the child has not had that exposure to a microbiome or the beginnings of their own microbiome as a result. And this is part of who and what we are. We need this microbiome because we need, it is the beginning places for so many different things in our body, as well as our immune system as well too. So it really is essential. Sorry, my desk is like cluttered here. I've got my shake, I've got my bowl of blueberries, I've got my water, and then 1,000 books. Yeah. Anyways, squirrel. That's what I do. But anyways, yeah, so the microbiome is, the gut microbiome is something that is very, very essential to maintain in our body. But I mean, these are things that have been going on for years and we didn't know anything about it and everything was fine and everything was good. So why do we really want to start talking about it now? Well, researchers are really starting to dive into the microbiome, the gut microbiome, very intensely, just because it is so the center point. It's like it's the holy grail of a lot of things that are going on with the rest of the body. The microbes that we have in our body, just a little FYI, fun fact here, 2 to 5 pounds of microbiomes in our body. That's like 1 to 2 kilograms. And it actually roughly weighs about the size of your brain, which is so cool. And you got to think that this is something that, is not always a pleasant thing to think about. If you're afraid of poop and you're afraid of talking about poop and you're talking about the inner workings of your gut and your health, you might want to rethink that a little bit, because it is essential. It's just as essential as washing our hands with warm water and soap, not alcohol and whatnot, unless you're out in public and whatnot. But natural, before COVID days, when we just used soap and water to really clean ourselves up. And it is essential for everything, as well as like deep breathing and all these other things that make our health as optimal as possible. So the microbiome is really, really good right from the start. And like I said, I mean, people, childbirth, people that are born vaginally, they have that extra boost right away, because they have that beginnings of grabbing the bacteria from the mother on the way out. And this is very, very essential for a lot of things. Not saying that it doesn't, it's not the same for cesarean section children, but at the same time, you have a little less bacteria getting into the children. And you may notice that children that are born by cesarean section, as opposed to vaginally, have a harder time digesting breast milk, because they don't have that extra gut bacteria already starting to mix and mingle and producing the things that it needs to produce to be able to digest things. We really need a really healthy microbiome for digesting fiber as well too. So certain bacteria in the digestive fiber producing short chain fatty acids, which are important for gut health, and they help to actually prevent weight gain, diabetes, heart disease. So very metabolic syndrome kind of situation. Again, when we were talking about fiber yesterday, I believe it was, with the prebiotics, we need that fiber to be able to clean our guts. And again, if we don't have certain bacteria to be able to digest other types of fiber, because there's 2 types of fiber, then we won't have these processes down the road. Again, I mentioned it, but controlling the immune, helping to control the immune system is very, very important. And it actually works in conjunction with the gut microbiome to, help send signals back and forth to red blood cells and white blood cells and the fighters and all these different things. And again, just tipping onto the edge of something that I don't know a lot about, but brain health. And researchers suggest that the gut microbiome also affects the central nervous system, which controls brain function. So that's that message going from the gut to the brain. Now, there's that whole other section of theory and information and research that's going on out there that actually our thoughts affect our gut as well too. So it works both ways. It's a two-way street when it comes to something like that. And this kind of stuff just fascinates me beyond, I don't know. It's crazy interesting to me. So the thing is with the brain biome, they call it the gut brain link, that brain is the second gut, or the gut is the second brain. They really are diving really deeply into the whole good bacteria for the brain health. And I wanted to just talk to you a little bit about that. And that was where we talk about psychobiotics, where we are really looking at the cutting edge here of information with regards to how our gut affects so much of our mental health. We are diving into a lot of open discussion about mental health right now. We're diving into a lot of awareness, which is so very important because of the fact that we are all going through stuff that nobody that we know of have gone through before. This isolation, this fear, this everything that we're going through now is precedented. And like I said, nobody living right now has gone through this kind of stuff. And we are looking at it from a perspective of trying to stay as healthy as possible. Dana and I are very much proactive with regards to bringing information to you guys with, staying healthy as much as you can, promoting immune health, promoting clean eating, promoting food first, and then, supplements on top of that if you need them. We need them right now. Really connecting that with the mental health, because food is essential and part of everything else that goes on with our body. And when we eat poorly, we're going to have poor gut situations, which ends up giving us poor mental function as well too, putting us into a very depressive state, putting us into a very negative state, and really just trying to optimize the ability for you guys just to stay as healthy physically and mentally as possible throughout this until we can get past it, for whenever that time will be, and then go on to being as healthy as possible. That's why I eat a bowl of blueberries every day, and they're not frozen berries, they're fresh berries. That's why I drink 4 liters of water a day. That's why I drink my protein shakes. That's why I try to exercise as much as possible. That's why I meditate every day. These are all things that are going to be very, very helpful to your overall survival rate throughout this pandemic. And I'm not just saying from the perspective of a getting COVID or not getting COVID, getting vaccine, not getting vaccine. That has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. It's staying healthy within your body while you are, not getting ill. And it's staying healthy while you are deciding about whether you want to get the vaccine or not. It's about staying healthy and making conscious decisions for yourself, and understanding that nobody can really make those decisions for you. Nobody can make you do anything you don't want to do. And nobody is going to make you sit down and eat a bowl of blueberries every day. It's got to be something that you have to do. It's got to be something that you have to consciously make a decision to move your body every day. You have to consciously make that decision to drink more water. Whether you like water or not, you can whine to me all day long about, oh, I don't like my water. I can't drink water. I don't know. Whatever. It's a choice. Water is free, and you can color it up. I add one of my waters during the day. I steep some fruit herbal tea. And I put that in there and I use that as a cold iced tea kind of situation. I don't add sugar. I don't add stevia. I don't add honey. I don't add anything to it. It is really good. I mean, there's ways to get around this, and you just reach out and you ask and make this conscious decision to do this. So I kind of veered off there, ranting. That's Dana keeps me in check, so I'm ranting. But anyways, getting back to what I was talking about, psychobiotics. Yes, psychobiotics are one of those things that, again, is one of those new things, and they're really understanding the potentially increased benefits of taking a probiotic for mental health. And I know we talked about probiotics for immune system and probiotics for gut dysbiosis and probiotics for antibiotic use and probiotics for just generalized digestive issues. But there's a lot of other reasons you can be taking probiotics, and they stem from anything from antibiotic-associated diarrhea to C. difficile is one of those things that you just don't want. C. difficile is something that we would see in the nursing home quite a bit, and usually they brought it, it was from clients or residents that had gone to the hospital and brought it back to the nursing home with them. It's not a pleasant thing, and you don't want it. But probiotics are going to be very, very helpful for it. It has a distinct smell, and I don't want to bring your breakfast up, but it's not pretty. Anyways, so you're also going to want to look at other things like diarrhea that's caused by cancer treatment, diverticular disease. I can't even say that. Diverticulitis, people that have that, But I mean, again, every person's going to be a little bit different. Every situation is going to be a little bit different. I know there's clients that I've had that have diverticulitis, and they say, I can't take probiotic. It doesn't work. There's something in it, blah, blah, blah. Everybody is going to be very individual. IBD, so inflammatory bowel disease, IBD or IBS, so irritable bowel syndrome, and traveler's diarrhea. Probiotics are good for children, really, really good and important to take after dental, any kind of dental work. If you have tooth decay, periodontal disease, any kind of work that you have done in your mouth, you're always wanting to take a probiotic afterward, because the digestive system starts in the mouth and it ends in the rectum. So anything that goes in your mouth, this is a big opening for everything to go on. So if you have any kind of abscess or infection or just a bad oral hygiene, all of that junk and garbage, the bad bacteria and toxins are going to go to the rest of your body. And as a side note, heart disease has been linked with root canals. So I'm not going to get into that deep, but that is something to think about. And, people were coming into that season where it's allergies. For people like myself, I do have seasonal allergies, and I do totally understand that it is very much related to my gut microbiome as well too. So allergic rhinitis, which is the fancy term for hay fever, this is something that is very much related to your gut microbiome as well too, and can be assisted and helped with a probiotic. Asthma is another one, atopic dermatitis. So the other day we talked about a probiotic in a cream that you can put on your skin, but as well taking it orally as well too, because our skin health starts on the inside as well too, and prevention of allergies too. So there's actually a product that I take seasonally this time of the season, like right now, and I actually should be ordering it right now. That is I can't remember the name of it, but it's a natural product. So it's not over the counter Solera or any of these other I think that's not the right one. I haven't taken, and it's not an antihistamine anyways, which ends up causing you to have maybe to be drowsy, and because every medication is going to have side effects. This product I take seasonally, as well as a probiotic at the same time, is very, very good. It's a natural product. I don't know the name of it right now, but I can definitely look it up and put it in the notes. And other conditions too as well. So probiotics for acne, upper respiratory infections. We also talked about respiratory infections with not digestive enzymes, but enzymes as well too. So a couple of weeks back, we were talking about enzymes quite a bit, and talking about inflammation in the lungs, and one of the enzymes that's very, very helpful for that too, and UTIs. So these are conditions that can be very, very helpful for pretty much any. Probiotics can be used for pretty much anything. This is why it's so essential to be taking it as much as possible anyways. But back to the psychobiotics. So the psychobiotics, again, specifically referring to that mind-body connection and the association with the gut and the brain. Mental health issues are, again, it's not my specialty, and this is just things that I'm learning and just bringing this information to you guys as well too. But mental health situations like bipolar disorder and even autism, and this is what I'm quoting from sciencefocus.com, has been associated with gut issues, especially inflammation of the gut. So any kind of IBD that's going on. So just to reiterate that, bipolar disorder, autism, associated with the gut. These are very, very, this is scientific fact. This is not things that I'm making up. And you can dispute it all day long if you want. I know when it comes to autism, there's a lot of controversy out there, because we have a lot of, if it was my child, yeah, you better watch out. I mean, and I get it. It's not something that is, it's not pleasant to have a child with something that other people don't understand. And and so I would be definitely fighting all the time for my child. This is scientific things that are coming out all the time. There's new evidence, there's new research, there's new studies all the time with regards to this kind of stuff. And this is kind of the latest and the greatest. Actually, this was published from the thing I'm reading right now was published 2019. So just even a couple of years ago. And but they're really, really looking all the time towards the gut and the mental health situation. But we know for the fact that serotonin, which is our happy hormone, is made in the gut, and it is that connection back and forth. So if we have inflammation in the gut, we have a decreased incidence where this kind of stuff is going to work properly. And that just kind of goes without saying. If we have a lowered incidence of or we have an increased incidence of inflammation, dysbiosis, constipation, so we're filled with crap, literally, all these different things. If we have a body that's full of this kind of stuff, the things that it needs to do are not going to get done. One of the things that I would find, and through my nutritional consult when I do with people, I can find different proteins that are deficient, or amino acids, same thing. Amino acids is the building blocks for protein. So one of them is tryptophan. Actually, I noticed that in myself. So I did a lot of research around tryptophan. Tryptophan is that amino acid that we find in turkey. So if you ever had a big turkey meal and you feel kind of tired and sluggish afterwards, because it's usually carb laden as well too, that's what tryptophan does. It kind of makes us a little bit tired, but we can actually lack tryptophan in our amino acid intake as well too, especially when we're looking at vegetarians. And the brain actually needs a constant supply of tryptophan, and because tryptophan is the cofactor or the creator of serotonin, which is that happy drug again. So if you're lacking tryptophan and you know, it's like that layer thing again too. So I mean, if I had a client come in and do a nutritional consult and I noticed that they were low in tryptophan, I would maybe perhaps say, have you been feeling kind of low lately? Or have you been having this symptom or that symptom? Understanding that there's that connection between lack of tryptophan with other hormones being able to be produced properly, and then as a result, not having them throughout the body. You see the layering effect of things, excuse me, as a result. And it is just that wonderful connection that, even though we might talk about gut, or we might talk about brain, we might talk about our elbows, we might talk about our big toe, it's all connected, whether we, try to just isolate. We can't, because one thing leads to another, leads to another, leads to another. When I take a small drop of blood off your finger to look at, I put it on the slide and look at it underneath the microscope. People say, well, that's just from my finger. But no, this is a representation of the whole body, of what's going on in the whole body. It's not just, oh, well, that's what's happening in my finger. Well, no, that's not what happened in your finger. It's like the total body situation. And we can see that within the slide. It's if you want to get a little esoteric with it, it's the universe that's within us, that kind of situation. But I digress, because psychobiotics are very, very essential for helping with good mental health. And again, it comes down to, really, if you're not eating properly, you're not going to be able to get that all the nutrients and the phytonutrients and all the vitamins and minerals and everything else that you need to properly have everything function. Nobody eats 100%. Nobody. Unless you, like I said the other day, you're out in the bush, in the middle of the bush, and you're doing nothing but growing your own food, and you're gathering water from a spring-fed whatever, and and that's it. That's all. There's toxins everywhere. There's pizza. There's beer. There's McDonald's down the road. There's everything. And, we have to get out of the habit of doing that so often. You can talk about the 20 or the 80-20 rule if you want. But the thing is, even a little bit of bad, if you want to call them bad, improper, toxic, chemically laden, genetically modified, processed, heavily processed foods, even a little bit is going to shift everything. It's going to shift your microbiome. Yeah, but what about cheat meals? Go ahead. If you want a cheat meal, fine, go ahead. I had one the other day. I'm suffering for it. I had a cheat meal the other day because I know and I understand that, yeah, I wanted some French fries, and I had vegan veggie dogs, but I had hot dogs, which had a bun with gluten in it. I had a really heavy carb meal. And what do you have with French fries? Well, you have a little bit of gravy and you have a little bit of ketchup. That's what I ate. What else did I eat? Oh, and I had some really, really cool little crackers, cookies that were naturally sprouted chia seed, coconut, but there was flour in them, gluten again. They were carbs. And my hot flashes were so bad, and they're still bad. It's 2 nights now. So I have to go back to doing just no carbs. And I have to go really back to really just looking at my diet and making sure that if I don't want to have the symptoms that are expressing themselves very quickly, then I have to really just be very vigilant about it. I don't like getting up all through the night with hot flashes. I like to sleep. That's just me, maybe. But the thing is, um, it's a choice with people. And really, when it comes down to stuff like this, we really have to be very vigilant about it. And you have to make that choice. You have to say, yeah, okay, I am very focused in on making sure that my mental health is 100%. I know 100% is not always 100%. I mean, we can only expect and get what we want, but we can strive for 100%. And when we strive for it, then, we make that decision to incorporate some steamed broccoli with some olive oil on it and some flaxseed maybe on it, or some slivered almonds, incorporating more lentils and less meat products, or incorporating more beans and legumes, incorporating more healthy fats, your avocados, incorporating, more fruits and vegetables, incorporating less gluten, lots of rice, lots of chia seeds, your nuts, all these things that we talk about all the time, and slowly getting away from the breads and the processed foods and the dairy products and the crazy heavy meat products all the time, and using meat as a basis for your meal, and then putting everything else around it. I'm not saying don't eat meat. I'm saying choose your meat wisely, and then, get some better cuts of it, and don't make it the focus of the meal. Make it as a side part of the meal. Let meat be the side. Anyways, again, I digress. This actually all helps with the gut microbiome again. And when we incorporate certain probiotics, it helps as well too, because it will actually make us happier. As a result, it will literally keep our emotional level up to a level that can sustain us and keep our mental health focused in on the important things in life, like eating blueberries every morning, or going for a bike ride every morning, or smiling and sharing and loving the people and looking towards the positive in life as opposed to the negative. All these wonderful things that make or break our mental health at this time, that can be very, very hard. If it's a very, bad situation and you go towards an antidepressant kind of situation, that's where you are. There's nothing to be guilty about. There's nothing to feel guilty about. There's nothing to, be shamed about by any means. This is not a situation. What you should be focusing on is the fact that you took care of yourself. And that's amazing. I really applaud everybody that actually has the tenacity to be able to step up and step forward and take their own health into their own hands and say, I'm struggling. I need help. So before I start crying, because that's a pretty emotional situation, just understand that there's a connection between the brain and the gut. And you want to incorporate as much healthy foods as you can. If you find that you've just been on you've been on a downer for I don't know how long, look at what you've been eating maybe. Look at, who you've been hanging around, what you've been watching on Facebook. Look and see how you can shift things. It might be a little hard at first. Reach out, get the support you need. Reach out. And if the first person says you're full of baloney, baloney. It always comes down to that. It's an old saying my mother had. I'm like a squirrel today. My brain's not focused. Anyways, you reach out for that support. The person says, no, go away. Go to the next person. Don't let it get you down. Or better yet, take those first steps. Go get yourself a probiotic. Get yourself a bowl of blueberries. Switch out your coffee for your water in the morning. Switch out everything that you're drinking for water just for one day and see if it makes a difference. Have a beautiful meal with rice and salmon and steamed vegetables, and with a beautiful, array of just have yourself a nice Mediterranean diet meal, and see the health benefits. Try it out for a while. Not 80-20. Try it for a full week and see what happens. See how your mood shifts. Journal about it. Sit in meditation. Get some fresh air. Get some sunshine when the sun is shining. Do all these wonderful things that we are always kind of talking about all the time. And, and if you struggle with giving up sweets, because it is a bad addiction, this is a whole other topic altogether, but just move your energy. Go brush your teeth. Go for a walk at springtime. There's nothing wrong with going outside, changing that frame and that focus. You can do it. You can, because there's people out there that are willing to help you. And if I can do it, you guys can do it. That's just as simple as that. So probiotics for mental health. That's where I'm going. And as much as you can get with any other, look at that. I'm crying now. Probiotics, it's almost, I'm not going to say it's the miracle situation, but it's going to really bring about some changes in your life, for sure. Even if you don't notice it right away. Your immune health. Even just being able to poop on a regular basis, sometimes that is just heavenly. To be able to get a good sleep, like Angela was saying, it's just, it makes the breaks the difference. It's when you can get a good sleep, the whole world looks differently in the morning. And if you ever had a bad sleep or you don't sleep, my heart goes out to you, because when I crave those carbs and I give into it and I have them and I suffer, and my body's like, haha, Wendy, let's see how many times we can have a hot flash in the next 6 hours. You enjoyed those carbs? Did you enjoy those French fries? Yes, we're going to have to find some new ketchup. Anyways, yeah, gluten is not my friend. That's all I can say. I'm learning that. I'm not intolerant to the point where I'm running to the bathroom or anything like that, but it affects me in different ways. And when you start really understanding and listening to the body, yes, Angela, it's so true. And then when you start listening to your body and listening to the cues and understanding, you really start to see the connections. You can put the pieces together. I'm all about filling in and puzzle solving, I guess. That's who I am. And I do it to myself. I do it for my clients. I do it all over the place. And when you see that connection, you go, okay, yeah, hot dog buns. Probably the hot dogs themselves are probably full of gluten. Yeah, even there was probably some MSG in the gravy mix that I had. Yeah, I'm eating vegan. Yeah. But I have to take it that step further. But that's me. And everybody just has to do themselves. And this is where nutritionists like myself and Dana and even Angela that's on right now, we really dive down to bringing about that clarity for a lot of people, moving the fog aside and then walking right through. And, and just coming back to who we are as people. Yeah. So I think that's all I have to say today. Take away probiotics for your brain. Definitely. That's where we are. And probiotics for your gut, pretty much probiotics for everything. Okay. That's just a week-long whole synopsis. Probiotics for everything. And if you want to find out why, just watch all our videos this week. Have a beautiful, beautiful day, everybody. I will talk soon. And we'll talk tomorrow morning. Have a great day.